Hi, Kathia Woods, Cup of Soul Show. Hi, Justin. Nice to see you
Hey,
again.
good
Hey.
good to see you again.
Okay, so I have to ask you, how much was like school days an inspiration for this season? Because it reminded me a lot of that,
Mm.
and why 90s R&B particular, other than it's great.
Honestly, I didn't really look to School Days a lot. I am Black and it is a musical and it takes place in a college and I love School Days. But the truth is like I've been wanting to do musical cinema since I was a kid. I mean, literally the first movie I remember seeing is The Wiz, literally the first one. And this has been kind of a dream since season one to do a musical version of this reality because we do everything else in the world of dear white people. It gets so crazy. There's talking dogs. There's sliding, walls that show you who's having sex in the next room over. There are all these sort of fantastical elements that we do in the show. Why not burst into song? And it was one of those things that we never had got to do up until this point. And it felt like since this was going to be the last season, we better make a meal of it instead of it just being like that really special one-off. Like, let's do what we do every season. Let's throw out a third of our rules and reinvent some aspect of the show. And that's what we did.
And Jaclyn, this is the last season. So it's always like, you want to end on a high. But what is your takeaway? What have you learned working on the show for the last 4 years?
Oh, it's such a good, complicated question. I've learned so much. I think what I am most proud of about the show, and what I'm most excited to take forward with me, has been Justin's willingness and ability to let other people play in his world and give other people opportunities and seeing different points of view, both in the writer's room, from directors, and even in the characters. Seeing that as a strength and not a weakness, I think, is something that is one of the hallmarks of the show. And it creates a space where you do have someone like, you could watch the whole show and be like, well, I personally agree with Sam a bunch, and I don't agree with Coco. But there are just as many people who feel exactly the opposite, who love Coco and totally see themselves in her and don't really fuck with Sam. And the fact that that two audience members could have such fundamentally different experiences of the show, but both positive experiences, is, I think, such a testament to the way Justin, the way Justin crafts story. And I feel like I've learned so much from him in doing that. So.
And Justin, definitely not last. Let's talk a little bit about what do you want the show to say? I mean, it's gonna, after a couple of years, new people are gonna discover it. But for you, what has the show meant for you?
Well, the show sort of it kind of reflects I think the plight of Black people at this time, in that like there's this desire for me as the maker of the show, and I imagine for the audience, for the show to answer the questions that it raises. Damn it, tell us what to do. How do we deal with racism? And unfortunately, the issue is just too complicated to do all of that in a show. And what I wanted to do is similar to the movie, frankly, is arrive at an ending that made sense, that made the journey worth it, that didn't sort of repeat a lot of the same tragic things that happen to Black people in stories like this. But to also like tell the truth, which is that none of these struggles are anywhere near over. And in fact, while we've made startlingly quick progress in some areas, there are areas where there have been horrific setbacks. This show, we filmed our season finale of season one on the eve of Trump's election. So we've been, making the show out of the Trump era, where you as a Black person you have to face the paradox of living, which is that, like, yes, we had a Black president. Yes, I'm able to talk about reparations now publicly. Yes, some things have progressed, but look at how far back some things have slid. What do I do with all of that? How do I find joy with all of that? Having peace, making peace with not having all of the answers is, I think, a part of the human experience. And I think, if nothing else, I want people to see these characters as human. These characters that maybe they go into the show thinking, oh, these are mouthpieces, or they're ideas, or they represent social movements or political statements. They're actually people. And maybe all Black people are people. Maybe I'm a person.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.